Well, hello everyone and welcome to Black Women Speak. I am Giselle Shapiro, founder and CEO of Black Women Speak, the movement, the network, the book, and we're focusing on the Black Women Speak book series. I'm also senior producer of Black Women Speak Network. And I am honored to be interviewing Sheila Jackson today. Sheila is an historian, an accomplished writer. She is also an award-winning producer, brand strategist, and activist. And Sheila recently launched The Good CEO. It's a business incubator for women leaders who want to align with their purpose. I am so proud to be interviewing Miss Jackson, and she's also one of the co-authors in the book, Black Women Speak. How are you today, Sheila?
I'm doing great. Glad to be here.
Oh, wonderful. And how are you getting through this, what we're going through right now?
I'm going to be quite honest because, we are speaking our truth.
Yes.
And it's funny, the interesting thing about this period for me, and I think for a lot of us as Black women, is that part of it has been a relief because we've actually gotten to sit down and you can't do certain things. So you can't even push yourself to do it because it's prohibitive. So some of us have slowed down and then we rev back up with all the projects like me with the CEO and you with Black Women Speak, because we got that sense of mission and purpose, and reinvigorated and stop doing the work that we're here to do.
Absolutely.
So for me, it's that. And at the same time, in terms of faring through this period, it's been a challenge. I've had to give myself a lot of grace. I've had to ease up on the heavy, lengthy to-do list and be okay with, I got 2 things done today instead of I got 50 things done today. And to really focus on self-care. I've had to up my self-care game completely because the emotional stress of just the negativity and the energy, the chaos swirling right now, you want it to kind of wash over you. You don't want it to go through you. So you really got to protect yourself, in this space. And it takes a lot of extra effort in terms of self-care.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for bringing that up, because self-care is, yes, the lifeline to our livelihood. If we don't take care of ourselves, we can't take care of anyone else. And I'm glad that you brought that up. And, can you share a little bit about your amazing background with the audience? I gave a little entree. However, you can share a little bit more about you.
Well, I'm a serial entrepreneur, but I think I've definitely found a way, at my age and right now, to kind of bring everything full circle and bring everything together under the umbrella of Eve's Line. So my background, it has been varied. I started out as a marriage and family therapist. And, people think I don't do it anymore, but it's something that has become a part of who I am. And it's something that has, been a great survival skill for me and skill for me to be able to thrive in certain situations because of the mental health training that I have. And the people, communication skills I have, I've been able to apply that and use that in everything that I do and in my daily life. But I, went from that to writing. Writing was my first love. It's always been, that's why I say at the beginning and end of the day, I'm a writer. And I've always loved writing. And I've done different things. I've dealt art. I was a private art dealer. I have, produced commercials and written history books, produced documentary, which I'm working on right now. And, but right now, everything is just full circle. And it's really in that writer and producer and helping people. The brand strategist is really connected to the writing because it's a form of storytelling. It's about knowing how to tell the story of you and your purpose and your vision for your business and being able to convey your values, in your business, to open up your heart, to kind of expose the heart of your business. Because that's what the good CEO is about. I think that we cannot move forward in this era without bringing our businesses along. There's no more being on the hustle and just doing business to make money. It's business for a greater purpose you
Yes.
know, business to align with the things that matter to us,
Mm-hmm.
you know, with causes, with, you know, sustainable practices and that sort of thing.
Oh,
And
that's
being able to amplify movements and causes and align with those with our businesses and the work we do.
That's fabulous. Thank you so much for having the heart to even want to take on such a huge mission, because there's so much going on in the world today and people kind of aren't looking towards that space. And it's so important for us
Yeah.
in humanity, you know? So the good CEO is the good way to go. So, you know, check that out if you once you've read Sheila's story and support her mission. Your chapter is entitled 50. How did you come up with that title? And can you share a few of the details about that story that you share in the book?
I call it 50 because I think somebody said you should change somebody who wasn't 50, I'll say it like that. Said
Okay.
you should change the title to blah, 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 blah. And I was like, no, because everybody who's 50 is going to know exactly what that
Right.
title is. Because it's like, wow, there's so much, just so many blessings that come with 50,
Mm-hmm,
you know,
mm-hmm.
and just in terms of wisdom and just a peeling back of another layer into a different side of life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what 50 is about. This, you know, I have at the top of the piece, keep on living, baby. Because I'm from the South, I'm from Tennessee, and I remember the old folks in church, you know, or if they see me being difficult with my mom or something, or if I had an issue with something, and they didn't have, I felt like, looking back, I said they probably didn't have the energy to deal with me. And they just say, keep on living, baby. Because you're gonna just get to that marker,
Mm-hmm.
and the wisdom will flow, and it'll make sense to you, and you'll get the lessons.
Uh-huh.
And my piece is really about my experience. I framed it in the context of my 2 marriages. My first marriage when I was, you know, very young, right out of college. It was the thing that you did. You went to college, got your degree, got married. And it was a short-term marriage. My second marriage, I was married for 20 years. And really framing that against the backdrop of who I am as a woman, like many women in my age range who were raised in a contradictory kind of upbringing of we can be independent and you can do anything you want.
Yeah.
And, you know, seeing women burning their bras on TV with the feminist movement happening and Black Power movement going on, very militant. And at the same time, I went to charm school. My aunt bought me a dress every week. I was taught how to, you know, take care of your man, and you're looking for a husband and blah, 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 somebody to take care of you. It's like two completely opposing approaches to life as a woman. And I went into not one, but 2 marriages with that kind of dichotomy, you know, that juxtaposition of these very 2 different kinds of women. Yeah. And they both live inside of me. And just what that was like for me. It's a little about that experience and the lessons learned from that.
Beautiful. There'll be a lot of women that will get value from what you have to share, because you have a great deal of wisdom and you're a good writer, so you can write about what you want to say and people will probably get it even better. So thank you so much for sharing that. And what do you want your readers to learn from your story?
I think the biggest piece that a lot of people will be able to relate to and may have never put a name on it is being able to understand that we should never make ourselves small to make somebody else feel big. A lot of times as Black women, we have fit ourselves into not just relationship spaces, but workplace spaces, in the corporate structure, in the, you know, that's why it was so powerful. And I laughed with you after Kamala said, I am speaking, you know, to our vice president.
Absolutely.
That felt good to me. And it felt good to so many of us. Because how many times have you wanted to say that in a boardroom? I am speaking. Like, excuse me.
Exactly. And she did it proudly, and she was poised, and she was, don't mess with me. And
She
it
did
was,
it with I said that was an ancestor speaking through her. She looked, that was all the ancestors were saying, I am speaking. That's what I felt when I saw her say that.
I love it.
That's how
And he shut up too. He shut up.
Because so many times we're not being the fullest expression of ourselves, the fullest and truest expression. And 50 for me and post-divorce for me is this opportunity to be the fullest expression of myself, to just really continue to explore all the things I want to do, and to understand that I always had that freedom, but I was raised, in these different kind of conflicting, contradictory, theories and approaches to life and womanhood. And it just took me a minute to get there, whereas our millennials aren't even interested in getting married. Most of them.
Yeah, I agree. But I share with you and your feelings, and as far as relationships are concerned, because I had that conflict too. I knew, I have to be this way, and then I have to be this way.
It's crazy making.
It was something else.
It's crazy making.
And if you're in business, if you're in a male-dominated industry, you have to shift even more. You have to come out with that male energy. I was in the financial industry. Can you imagine? Yeah. I had to dress the part. I had to speak, get that masculineness coming out, and stand in command. And yeah, I really understand where you're coming from as far as that dynamic is concerned. And
it's actually part of that. Yeah, it's actually part of what I'm dealing with people in the Good CEO, is helping women to understand how to embrace our feminine energy. Good. Because that is our greatest strength. We've spent so much of our careers trying to hide that piece, but that is our greatest strength. There's a study by Peterson that showed that women CEOs are more innovative. Yes. Their companies are more profitable and they're more innovative. Because when we allow ourselves to tap into that energy, instead of trying to layer on all of this masculine feeling we got to behave this way to get over in that world, when we create our own businesses, we can create them and run them the way we want to. And let's integrate that feminine energy and stand in the power of all of that creativity.
Yes, absolutely. And Sheila, what pulls at your heartstrings right now, given the current state of our country?
Well, I am the mother of a young Black man. So that's the biggest thing that pulls at my heartstrings. And I have to tell you, I was on a call with, in a Zoom room full of white women one day when my son was going out. He was just leaving right before the call to run some errands and go to FedEx and deliver, pick up a package or whatever. And I live in a great neighborhood, very walkable neighborhood. Very diverse, not a place where people would be like, who's that little Black boy, or, But I'm telling you, I was terrified. I could barely pay attention on the call. And until I realized what was happening, and I was just like, oh my God, this is really like stressing me out. I was like this until he got home. He's 19 years old. He's not 10 or he's not a baby.
I understand.
I'm really concerned. That's the biggest thing that pulls at my heartstrings. And next to that is really, I just want us to understand that this had to happen. This moment was inevitable. Yeah. This moment was inevitable. And we have to hold the space for the vision of what we want the world to be like.
Yes.
We have to hold that space and work for it. And that's why I decided to launch the Good CEO during this time. That's why I'm so excited that you're doing Black Women Speaks right now, because we have to hold the space for the world as we want it to be. And we have to put the energy and the action and the innovativeness behind it,
Absolutely.
And create it and just birth this stuff. So
absolutely.
2021, we have birthed it all, and it's proliferating because we have to. I believe in change theory. I always talk about change theory, and with change theory, the chaos always happens before the change.
Yes.
And we're in the chaos period now, and it looks sketchy, it looks scary, like maybe we won't make it, but we have to hold the space and keep actively pushing forward to get through it.
And Sheila, guess what I thought of? The caterpillar.
Yeah.
Turns into a butterfly. But he goes through so much before that butterfly blooms. So that's
exactly
what I took
it.
from you. What I took from you. Absolutely.
That's where we are. And we have to believe that we're going to be that butterfly.
Yes.
Because it's time.
Yes. Our time is now. And, you know, the one thing about Black Women Speak is the sisterhood and the fact that we're stronger together.
Absolutely. And that's one of my hashtags with a good CEO is let's rise together.
Yes. Beautiful. Thank you so much. And what are your thoughts on racism and being a Black woman? We're finding it's happening all over the world that women are realizing, hey, I've been normalizing racism. Here's what I've had to what I've gone through. And pardon me?
I said we've even been making it easy for people to be racist. We're so accustomed to just rolling out the red carpet for it to continue to happen because it's the expectation.
Yeah, because we've wanted peace. We wanted to keep the peace. We wanted to do what we needed to do because we needed to make a living. We needed to have a nice, home. So we've had to accept. But now, no more of that.
No, absolutely not.
Right, exactly. And, the world needs to know who we really are. Yeah, and that's the part I'm so excited about because once people find out that there are more things that we have alike than different, then those changes will start occurring because they'll really see that, hey, they're not what I thought, or why am I thinking this way? This person deserves to be treated with respect, so.
And even beyond, I think it's even beyond that. I don't think that there are people who just don't understand that Black people really aren't so bad after all. We've already had that marketing campaign during the Harlem Renaissance and even before that, and I think that it's an issue of wanting to hold on to power and privilege and not wanting to let it go. It's not about us. It's not about anything we've ever had to prove to anyone. And I think I'm excited that's what I believe Black people are starting to understand this time around, is that it's not us. It's their problem that they have to heal for themselves. That's one of the things that I wrote interestingly in my essay, in my chapter. One of the lessons I learned is that there's some work that people must do for themselves.
Yes.
And healing racism is something that the white community has to do for themselves. Yes. There's no proving that Black people are so bad or we aren't this stereotype or they know. Yeah. They know the history. The history's at your fingertips on Google. People are choosing ignorance. People of all races.
And to stay comfortable. Don't look at the reality of what's really happening.
Glasses.
But there are a lot of people that are stepping up and really recognizing, white privilege and how they've been able to, overlook our pain. So I'm happy that there is change coming, and I believe it'll be sustainable.
Yes. Because I don't believe that the people who marched in the streets are people who will be willing to go back to the 1960s Jim Crow type of treatment in life. Yeah. I don't think I know that's not happening.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what are a few possible solutions for peace in the world?
Oh, that's a big question. I think the biggest solution for peace in the world is that everything starts from within. And I think we really have to truly check ourselves and work on ourselves. Because you can't have peace in the world if you don't have peace with yourself. You can't have peace in the world if you don't have peace in your own family or community or, and that doesn't mean you have to everybody's got to be perfect and you got to fix every situation. But you have to be willing. There's a willingness and an acceptance, of people as they are, empathy and compassion.
Yes.
And when we can have that empathy and compassion for ourselves, for our family members, for our communities, for people who we don't know, for strangers, that is, I think, where peace begins. It begins with a new approach to life, a humanitarian or humanistic approach to life. I think it's going to come with a conscious capitalism when looking at America, a different way how we look at business and how we make money, and a different approach spiritually, that there's not limited resources, that there's enough for everyone. We live in an abundant universe. We don't have all these limitations. I think once we can shift the paradigm in terms of how we see ourselves in relationship to the world and the things that we want to have or acquire, understanding that unlimitless, potential and abundance of the universe, I think that peace is more possible then. But when we have all this kind of fear mongering and I got to get mine and there's only enough just for a few, so I got to be at the top, because that's where privilege and this insistence on holding on to privilege comes from. It comes from that low frequency of thinking that I got to get mine, and it means somebody else isn't going to get any.
Exactly.
So I'm willing to stand in the space of oppressor to have what I want to have first, me first.
Yep. Just the rising up of our consciousness, because just to open our eyes and see the pain and to have empathy. And in parting, do you believe the world needs more Black women to speak up and share their stories, and why?
I do. And I tell you, the biggest thing that I was excited about was when we had our Facebook group for the people who wrote the chapters in Black Women Speak. And then when you opened the global group, I was like, yes, because I believe that our power, we have to learn. I want to erase the word minority from everybody's memory, from the ancestral memory. Even we have never been a minority.
Yep.
Ever. And it's black and brown people are the majority of what's in this world, and Black women and, people of color, indigenous cultures. We have such a presence and such a legacy and power that we need to connect to. We need to understand how much we have in common with indigenous peoples in Australia and people in Mexico and people in Spain and Brazil. And we need to open those dialogues. There's so much culturally, and there's so much power in terms of just our ancestral wisdom as indigenous peoples, and people of Africa that we have to tap into. So I think it's, people have wanted us to think that you're over here. It's like having an abusive husband these last several years, and just in general, sometimes living here is like having an abusive husband, because they want to alienate you from your history, alienate you from thinking that you got any family out there around you. It's just you, and you all are a minority, and it's not true. It's not true. And it took me living outside of the United States to really be able to understand that it's not true. And there's so much power in connecting, and there's so much that we have to share and to strengthen each other and to teach each other. When we talk about our sisters abroad and on the other continents, I'm excited about all of that, what that has to bring, and especially for women entrepreneurs and us doing business with each other, supporting each other's businesses, innovating together, partnering. There's a lot to be done.
Yes, that's fabulous. Thank you so much. And now that we're all connected, or we're able to connect by social media, this movement is going to grow, and it's going to be so powerful. And I'm just thrilled that you are a co-author in Black Women Speak. It's time we tell our stories, and you're also a founding member of this movement. So I thank you so much for participating and for your support. And together we will get through this, and we will change the world, because the world deserves to hear us.
Absolutely.
Yes, thank you so much. And in closing, I am Giselle Shapiro. I'm super excited that I've been able to interview Sheila Jackson, one of our co-authors in Black Women Speak. It's time we tell our stories, and order your copy now. And if you have a sister that you care about, order one from her too. The website is www.blackwomenspeakthebook.com. All right, and until the next time, thank you so much for joining us. Black Women Speak. Goodbye. Bye-bye, Sheila. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.